Well, welcome back to the Keiser Report. I'm Max Keiser. Time now to turn to a very special guest. I will preface this by saying, cometh the hour, cometh the man. And I will explain a little bit more what I mean by that. Vays, welcome to the Keiser Report.
Oh, thanks, Max. It's great to be on, finally. I remember watching your show throughout 2013 and 14, even before that. You actually got me into Bitcoin.
Oh, that's awesome. So Vays, I mentioned here at the top that cometh the hour, cometh the man. I think that going back to 2017, Bitcoin actually faced a bit of an existential crisis with the SegWit story. And you guys over there at the World Crypto Network, I'm going to give them a big shout out. You really nursed the community through a difficult period with excellent media and great communication. And just tell a little to folks about, I know it's a pretty complicated story, but if you can kind of encapsulate that, what happened?
It was really a rough time. Now that we look back at it, it was in the spur of the moment how everything was happening. You never really had a chance to step back and think. It was all about whether we can or can't have big blocks. And while there was a moment where I thought, yeah, maybe we could go to a bigger block and increase the Bitcoin size of the throughput of the amount of transactions, it was realized fairly quickly that no one has the power to force everybody in the community to upgrade their Bitcoin nodes to have double the size of the blocks, to go to 2 megabytes or beyond. And the only solution was to find a way to scale without doing that. Segregated witness was a great coding upgrade that didn't force everyone to update. It stayed within the consensus rules, and it was the only way to go. The user-activated soft fork was a little bit reckless, a little bit dangerous. I'm glad I got on the bandwagon around June, July. And by August, it was clear that it was going to win, and I believe that we did.
Okay, there was a bit of an element there, Town, that, talking about the elements that were involved in that it seemed as though we had, you talk about big blocks versus smaller blocks. It seemed like there was a corporate agenda almost, that there were some OGs in the space, some corporations and fund managers that were really leaning on that whole big block story to satisfy a commercial end. And the protocol ejected them almost as bad actors in the space.
I agree with that, though I wouldn't go as far as it was some kind of an agenda. A lot of the businesses have structured their businesses based on certain conditions, but Bitcoin isn't a company. Bitcoin didn't promise anything to anyone. And just because some businesses were really dependent on microtransactions before the system was able to feasibly do them for you cheaply, those businesses were going to be in a little bit of trouble, and they had to do more development than they wanted to adjust for SegWit. And I think they wanted to take the lazy way out and force every user to upgrade, and the users said no. The companies need to upgrade with Bitcoin. This is what they chose. And eventually, all of those companies had to upgrade their systems to account for SegWit. And now we have lots of transactions processing very, very quickly and very cheaply. And I think the system is so much better and so much more secure now than before.
The nodes asserted themselves.
They did.
Versus the miners.
They did, and which is a good thing, because when Satoshi initially launched it, he did say 1 CPU, 1 vote, but that was under the assumption that everyone is pretty much a miner. Everyone that runs a node can also mine. With ASICs and the advancements in mining, that was no longer feasible. So how does a regular Bitcoiner have a voice in the system? And they do that by running their own node and by validating their own transactions. And the miners are just there to make money by creating new coins, by processing our transactions, and not dictate the future of development.
Some say that the way to be a true Bitcoiner is to run your own node. Do you agree?
I agree. I run my own node. I have been running a single miner. Running a miner is actually very difficult. I'm trying to upgrade my miner now, and I'm running into difficulties. But look, I have a lot of respect for those that are able to run mining operations. I do. But again, if this is going to be a decentralized, peer-to-peer value transfer system, the average person has to have a say in it somehow, and right now they have a say by processing their own transactions with their own node.
I'd say your claim to fame, so to speak, you teach people how to look at technical analysis in a big way. That's something that you're big in the community for. And let me just give you some background here. You, like myself, kind of have a background on Wall Street, and you've done a lot of options trading, and so you have a base experience in the securities industry, which is different than many people that come into crypto because they come into it really without any experience in securities or Wall Street whatsoever. But so when you talk to people about technical analysis, what are you trying to teach them? What's your goal there?
I'm just trying to teach people that trading is difficult and it's a skill set, and you don't just come in and do it. What I've noticed when I came into the space in 2013 and 2014 is that so many people were now becoming traders because there was such a little barrier to entry on being a trader because of crypto. There's no age restriction, no geographical restriction, no financial restriction. You can trade with $100, $200. A lot of gamblers came into the space as traders because a lot of gambling sites and poker sites were paying out in crypto, in Bitcoin mostly, and these guys, hey, I want to do something else. I don't have to play poker all the time. I'm going to start trading. And what I've noticed is there wasn't that many professional traders and competent traders in the space. So I started writing articles about technical analysis. That grew into a YouTube channel about technical analysis and trying to predict the price of Bitcoin.